Do you ever wonder, why is progress harder than it should be? You've got capable people, you've got clear mission, have a clear strategy, but you find the priorities keep shifting, or the follow through falls through, it breaks down, or maybe the communication is kind of all over the place, or meetings just don't make the kind of progress that you would like. Well, if this is you, you're not necessarily dealing with a motivation problem or a talent problem. You might be dealing with a broken leadership operating system. Most leaders don't realize that they have a leadership operating system, but you do. And so in this video, we will look at what a leadership operating system actually is and why it's the key to making progress easier, more consistent, and far less frustrating. And so we're going to cover how to set a clear direction that your team can actually act on, how to lead in a way that reinforces what matters most, how to create the kind of environment where your team can thrive, and how to put simple structures in place that keep things moving. So first we have to start with, what in the world is a leadership operating system? Well, it's a structure running in the background that determines how decisions get made, how work gets done, and how people stay aligned. It's kind of like a computer has an operating system. It sets the rules for how things work. It's got the foundations and the functions in there. But we're not talking about software. What we're talking about is the rhythms, the roles, the systems, how strategy gets translated into consistent behavior. So why do you even need a leadership operating system? Without a healthy operating system, good leaders still get bad results. And so when you don't have one, you end up with a bunch of consequences that you don't want. There's high reactivity, low accountability. You have siloed decisions, unclear roles, or people just get frustrated and disengaged and don't do the work that they really should be doing. When you contrast that with a strong operating system, everybody knows what matters. So this is where the effective ecosystem comes in. It's a framework I use with leaders to define and build leadership operating systems that actually work. Because most organizations, they take what I call the fly swatter approach. And this was me for many years, hit the fly there, hit the fly there. There's something I have to address over here. And a fire over here popped up. I need to swat these flies and get rid of them all and solve all the problems. So what leaders try to do is that they try to fix a problem in isolation. Well, we definitely need to improve our meetings, or let's make a new org chart, or our goals need to be more clear and more strong. What leaders do sometimes is they fix these surface level issues, like adding a tool, creating a new role, having more meetings. But if those changes aren't connected to something deeper, they won't last. So the effective ecosystem gives you a clear way to structure how your organization or your team works, you starting from the inside out. Now, at the center, this is really the core of the effective ecosystem, and it is who you are and why you exist. It's about your identity. The identity is a shared understanding of what your organization or team stands for, your purpose, your values, your convictions. And it's not just language that you post somewhere on your website or a t-shirt that you wear. It's really the heartbeat that guides everything else. Because when your identity is strong, it gives clarity and consistency. When it's fuzzy, your decisions will just feel scattered and then the momentum drops. So that's where you start, is your identity hub. So from the central core, there are 4 quadrants that shape how your organization or your team functions. So on the top, you'll see that it's big picture conceptual. These are more the broad, looking across the landscape. Then it goes down to the bottom, which is more the fine, detailed, practical implementation of things. On the left side is the people part, and then on the right side is the actions, or the things that have to be done, more the task-oriented nature of the team. Each one of these then becomes part of the pillars of the leadership operating system that enables you to be able to lead more clearly and more effectively. So first of all is mapping, and this is a clear path forward that everybody understands. This is about direction. In this sense, the people know where the team's going, what matters most right now, how their work connects to the bigger picture. If you don't have clarity in this, then people drift. And even when they're working hard, they can get off course. Then you need the right structures or systems to keep things moving. So this is about executing. These are your systems and your processes. It's not just technology or a particular tool, though that can be part of it. It's the consistent ways that you plan, that you do the work, that you ensure that there's accountability, follow through, that you have excellent results. And when you have this in place, then you reduce the friction, people feel aligned, and it really helps translate that big picture down into final execution and results. The next quadrant is cultivating. This is on the people side. This is more practical. It's creating and developing a team that's growing and confident in their roles. People don't just get hired. They need to be developed. They need feedback. They need clarity. They need support so that they can grow in what they're doing and do their best work. And when this is missing, you end up with disengagement, turnover increases, morale goes down. It's not a pretty sight. The last quadrant is one moving back to the big picture on the people side. It is shaping, and that is shaping, developing, creating a culture that reinforces what matters most. This is an unspoken environment that people experience every day. It's what gets rewarded, what gets avoided, and what's considered normal and acceptable behavior. Healthy culture doesn't just happen by accident. It's something that you as a leader need to intentionally shape. And culture will be created whether you realize it or not. So it's better to be intentional about it. So these are the 4 components: mapping the direction, executing with systems and processes and tools, cultivating your team by developing them, and shaping the culture. And these 4 pillars form the foundation of a healthy leadership operating system, which then leads to a healthy team and healthy organization. When these are aligned with a clear identity, your team becomes more focused, it becomes more resilient, and progress actually moves forward. If you don't design your leadership operating system, it will design itself, and you might not like the results. So it's much better to be intentional in how you design the system. Remember the effective ecosystem, the 4 quadrants that are pillars of how to have a healthy organization or team, and use that as a diagnostic tool to figure out where your gaps might be, where progress is bogging down, and how you can move forward. So subscribe for more videos. We are going to cover more elements of this leadership operating system, so stay tuned.